Hello and welcome to Cooking with Quarks. Today I will tell you all you need to know about these fundamental particles and how best to cook with them. So, what is a fundamental particle? You might know that an atom is made out of protons, neutrons and electrons. Now, you can't cut up an electron as they are very small. In fact, if an electron was this little bar of white chocolate, this would be about the size of a neutron. But we can cut up neutrons and protons, so what do we get when we do that? The answer is quarks, and quarks may be the strangest and most exciting particles in the fundamental world. Let's begin with the different types of quarks. Currently, we only know of 6. However, more and more are being discovered in particle accelerators that speed them up and hit them together to see what comes out. Firstly, we have the up quark. Now, this up quark is what gives the proton its positive charge, 2/3 of it to be exact. But as with everything, we have to have an opposite, which is where the down quark comes into play. The down quark is slightly larger than the up quark, with a negative charge, as the name suggests. The interesting thing about the down quark, however, although it's bigger, it only has a third of the charge, which will actually come into play later. Then we have the strange quark, which we'll get into more detail later. We also have bottom, top and charm, which we'll skip for today's show as they're extremely hard to work with and I don't have a particle accelerator. Up and down quarks make up protons and neutrons, and that's what we'll be cooking today. You may think neutrons and protons are quite different from each other, but they have some quite striking similarities. Firstly, every neutron and proton has only got 3 quarks. Secondly, both protons and neutrons are just made up of up and down quarks. So, a proton will have 2 up quarks and 1 down quark, while a neutron will have 2 down and 1 up. Imagine this as the flavour of the quarks. A blueberry has a much more distinctive taste than a strawberry, meaning you need to add more strawberries in order to mask its flavour, and in order to cancel it out, you need to add less blueberries. Anything made up of a quark is called a hadron, and we call things with 3 quarks baryons. Think of it this way: a hadron is any type of food, while baryons are specifically this cake. But there's one last thing, and that is the strange quark. Now, as you can see here, the strange quark is slightly different from the up and down quarks. It doesn't last nearly as long. Not to mention, it has a new quality. We call this quality strangeness. Think of it as the coldness of this ice cream. And if you place it into a mixture, the rest of the mixture takes on this quality and becomes cold too. You may have also noticed I'm not using any type of old ice cream. This is strawberry ice cream. This is because a strange quark also has a negative charge, like the strawberry. So now we have 3 different quarks to make a baryon cake out of. That's great! But you may have also noticed, it's really difficult to make a cake out of ice cream. How are you going to bake it? Well, this is actually another property of the strange quark. You see, unlike the up and down quarks, it really doesn't last very long. So baryons that are made out of a strange quark quickly melt down and become just up and down quarks. In other words, although our ice cream has melted, it still tastes like strawberry, even though it's technically no longer ice cream. So we've got our cake. But we don't like cake. We want something just made out of strawberries. Something much smaller. Well, we can't actually do that. But what we can do is use something called an antiparticle. An antiparticle is the same quark, but with an opposite charge. So, in the case of these strawberries, a normal quark might taste like a strawberry, while the anti-quark would taste like a blueberry. And when the strawberry tasting strawberry meets the blueberry tasting blueberry, they completely destroy each other, otherwise known as annihilation. But why is this important? Well, you might remember the hadrons from earlier. There is another type of food that we can cook, and this is known as a meson. Now, in order to have a meson, you need two different quarks, one a particle, one an antiparticle. For example, we would need to match this blueberry tasting strawberry with a blueberry tasting blueberry. So, we know all about quarks, but there's one last thing you need to know. In order to cook ourselves a baryon cake, we need something that can hold the quarks together, like this whipped cream. And this is where gluons come into play. Now, a gluon is an exchange particle, which can only interact between two or more particles. So if I just have one strawberry down here, I can't put any cream on it, as there will be no point in keeping it together. But if I add multiple strawberries and a blueberry, I can put them together using this cream. So now, they won't fall out. There is, however, a small difference. You see, the gluons keeping a quark together are extremely strong. In fact, they're so strong that we rarely ever see quarks on their lonesome. They're almost always stuck in a baryon or meson. And that's the basis of quarks. So now we know how to make protons, neutrons, and even rarer mesons and baryons. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.